So this isn't something new. There's been rumors of Apple having interest in acquiring our favorite little EV maker, Canoo, for like almost ever. And considering everything that's happening in the world right now, the timing might finally just be right. What's up, Motorheads, and welcome back to Gearbox Pizza. So we're talking more Canoo today, and if you've been around for a while, well, you already know that we're sort of big time fans of Canoo. There's this futuristic jelly bean of a van they're calling the lifestyle vehicle, and then there's the truck. Now, it should be pretty obvious, but these are all fully electric and everything is still more or less in pre-production, so sorry to disappoint, but you can't go out and buy one. Not yet, anyway. And unfortunately, Canoo's just, well, they're sort of falling on hard times right now, so this dream's a little bit in jeopardy. Anyway. So like I said before, there's been a healthy dose of flirting already between Apple and Canoo, with The Verge reporting that meetings were being held between the two in the first half of 2020. Another not so well kept secret is that Apple's been working on developing something in the EV space for a while now. You see, Apple was originally interested in the platform that Canoo was developing, also known as the skateboard. And what's unique here is that with Canoo's platform, unlike most of the other EV builders, well, they integrate more of the car's electronics into the platform, which would allow for far greater flexibility when you're designing the carriage, or the body, just the whole car that wraps around it. So there's been plenty of speculation lately, and if we take a look at how Apple operates, you'll notice that Apple acquires new companies like all the time. So when entering a new space or product category, if you got the scratch, if you got that money, it's a big time head start to just buy a company that's already sort of figured it out already, right? So sometimes it's for the technology, sometimes it's for the patents, but most often it seems to be for the talent. And looking back, Apple's already used this strategy to develop things like the iPhone multi-touch interface, Siri, Apple Music, Face ID, Touch ID, Apple Maps, and even Mac OS. And that's just to name a few. So that's quite a track record, and I would suspect that the big boys from Cupertino would and are applying the same strategy for entering the EV space. And Apple's already started down this path. So back in 2019, they purchased this company called Drive.ai, and that was to jumpstart their journey into autonomous driving and machine learning. Along with just buying up these smaller shops, Apple's been poaching talent regularly from the big boy established automakers, and they've built out teams with some of the top talent from Mercedes, BMW, Volvo, Waymo, Ford, Rivian, and much to the chagrin of local spaceman Elon Musk, Tesla. You see, Apple is loaded, like mega loaded with cash. In fact, if Apple was a country, it would have a GDP or gross domestic product of more than 186 other countries. In fact, there's only 4 countries that have more money than Apple. It's the US, obviously, and then there's China, Japan, and Germany. Every other country, look, go ahead, name one. Yep, smaller than Apple. Point being, Apple's in a position where they can afford to just burn piles of cash acquiring companies and talent at a pace that just about no one else can. So and that's definitely an if they want to become a big player in the EV space, well, they sort of just have the money to buy a seat at the table. Also, that quote-unquote walled garden Apple has created and that family of devices that so many people rely on, well, the more products that work together, the better the system is as a whole. It sort of starts with the iPhone, which most people love. Then after you have the iPhone, well, it just makes sense to get the Apple Watch over a Google or Samsung watch, right? And then you need the MacBook, and while you're at it, the Apple TV, and then the AirPods, and so on. Everything just sort of works together, and the larger the system is, the better it is. Now, add an EV to the mix and you can already see the possibilities. I mean, just use your imagination. Alright, so back to Canoo. And regardless of how awesome your product is and how much people like it, it's clear that creating an EV company from scratch is just really hard. And Canoo, unfortunately, well, they're no exception. Just last week, Canoo warned investors that it may not have enough cash to keep the lights on. Now, it sounds like additional funding has more or less been secured, but it's looking very unlikely that Canoo is going to be able to stay on pace. Yeah, it's sad, but there's just no way they're going to be able to produce as many vehicles as they had planned. So with the future looking, well, I don't know, a bit shaky at best, this path towards acquisition might just be the best way to keep that Canoo dream alive. And this is where your boy Tim Cook comes in. Right now, or at the time of this video is created, Canoo's valuation has dropped to about $800 million. And that's about the same amount of money Apple spends on bagels each year. Alright, I totally just made that up, but you get my point. It's like pocket change to them. Also, Canoo's former CEO, Ulrich Kranz, is now apparently one of the top executives on Apple's internal car project. And there's even several former Canoo engineers on staff as well. So, alright, all these details aside, just take a look at what Canoo's got going on. I mean, the lifestyle vehicle and the truck basically already look like Apple products. I don't know, am I wrong here? I mean, I really hope the design and the form function of these guys lives on in some form, because there's really nothing else like it. And okay, I really just want one also. You know what, I can see myself having both, the truck and the van. Why not, right? Anyway, I'm a little bit worried though, because, well, Bloomberg has recently reported that a person close to both Apple and Canoo, well, they warned that Apple probably wouldn't want to take Canoo's underlying technology, and they're just much more interested in acquiring their engineering talent. So it's obviously hard to say what Apple has in mind. In a world where we have fully built dummy iPhone prototypes out 6 months before the announcement, well, it's been much harder to figure out what Apple's endgame is here. Now, it's been reported from several sources that Apple hopes to have a fully autonomous car with a roomy interior, no steering wheel, and crazy deep integration with their full product library by the end of the decade. Now, I have my doubts about the timing here, but if Apple really wants to be a player in the space, well, they have the talent, and more importantly, they have the checkbook to just sort of make it happen. All right, so personally, I'd be all for Apple buying Canoo, and I'd pray that they just don't scrap all the hard work that's been done. And I think the lifestyle vehicle and the truck are just way too unique and cool to die this like sad death. And Apple, Tim, if you're listening, and I know you're a subscriber, Tim, so thank you for the support, my dude. Anyway, people go nuts, absolutely nuts, for an Apple version of these two sweethearts. They already just look on brand, and the size and the prices are already on point. So what do you say? Roll up with that cash, leave the creative and design as is, and let's just bring this thing to market. Let's do it.
You can do it!